Once in a generation, a story transcends its medium, breaking through the boundaries of language, geography, and even genre. It becomes a global phenomenon, uniting millions of people who may never meet but share a common experience. Was not just a TV show, it was a cultural supernova, igniting conversations and sparking movements far beyond the screen. What made this possible? Was it simply a good story, or was it the result of a rare convergence of timing, technology, and a deep, human need for connection and meaning? The show arrived at a moment of global unrest, when people everywhere questioned authority and felt powerless, searching for hope and solidarity. Its tale of outcasts challenging the establishment resonated deeply, echoing the frustrations and dreams of millions. This was more than entertainment. It was a fantasy that tapped into a collective desire for rebellion, for change, and for being seen. The show's success was no accident. It answered a global emotional need, offering catharsis and inspiration at just the right moment. But why did this particular heist story capture the world's imagination when so many others hadn't managed to break through? The answer: a perfect storm of social, technological, and cultural forces, all colliding at once. It was the right story, at the right time, delivered through the right channels, to an audience ready, perhaps even desperate, to receive it. Replicating this kind of success would mean recreating that perfect storm, something nearly impossible by design and by chance. Our mission: to deconstruct this phenomenon, to understand the forces that made it possible. We'll trace its rise from a modest Spanish production to a worldwide sensation, uncovering the steps along the way. We'll explore how a simple mask and a folk song, symbols that might have seemed ordinary, became global emblems of resistance, hope, and unity. This is the story of how fiction became a fact of our shared culture, and why it may never happen quite like this again, no matter how hard we try. At its core is a story of rebellion, a tale that pulses with the heartbeat of resistance. A group of marginalized outsiders challenge the system, not by stealing from people, but by robbing the royal mint and printing their own money, rewriting the rules of power in the process. They're not just thieves, they're insurgents fighting economic structures, daring to question who really holds the keys to society's wealth. In a world simmering with discontent, protests, inequality, distrust, this narrative struck a nerve, echoing the frustrations of millions. The show gave frustration a face, a plan, a red jumpsuit, and a dolly mask, symbols that quickly became global icons of resistance. The heist became a symbolic act of defiance, a rallying cry for those who felt powerless. The characters, Tokyo, Berlin, Nairobi, Rio, were flawed, relatable, and led by the enigmatic professor, whose intellect and compassion set him apart. They weren't superheroes. They were ordinary people doing something extraordinary, driven by desperation and hope. Audiences saw themselves in this crew, their own frustrations and hopes reflected back, making the story deeply personal. The show offered a vicarious release for a generation's pent-up anger, letting viewers imagine a world where the underdog could win. It was more than a clever plot, it was a modern fable, a myth for the digital age. The royal mint was the castle, the government the dragon, and the thieves the unlikely knights, heroes for a new era. The story affirmed that a small, dedicated group can challenge giants and sometimes even win. It was a message of hope, wrapped in a thrilling heist drama that kept viewers on the edge of their seats. This narrative spark ignited the imagination of a disenchanted world, inspiring countless acts of creativity and protest. The show's emotional resonance was its foundation, forging a powerful bond between story and audience. It wasn't just watched, it was felt, lived, and discussed in homes and streets around the world. That connection was the first critical element in its explosive success, fueling a cultural phenomenon. It became a mirror for a world longing for change, and a reminder that stories can spark revolutions. A spark needs fuel to become a fire. For that fuel was global streaming. The show began as a modest Spanish hit, but Netflix changed everything. By acquiring global rights, Netflix launched the show from local obscurity to worldwide fame. Episodes were recut, dubbed, and subtitled for dozens of languages. Suddenly, viewers from Mumbai to São Paulo could watch the same story at the same time. Streaming erased borders and schedules, creating a shared global experience. The platform became a massive distribution engine, bypassing traditional gatekeepers. A hit show was no longer just American or British, it could come from anywhere. Proved a powerful story could transcend its origins and speak universally. Without streaming, the show's journey would have been slow and uncertain. Instead, it detonated everywhere at once, a global event, synchronized by a single platform. Streaming didn't just distribute the show, it co-authored its success. The rise of streaming was the fuel that turned a local spark into a global inferno. This technological shift was essential to the phenomenon. The world was ready, and streaming delivered. Every explosion needs a catalyst. For it was the COVID-19 pandemic. As the world locked down, billions were stuck at home, hungry for distraction and connection. The show's fourth part arrived at the perfect moment, offering escape and excitement. People immersed themselves in the drama, forgetting the crisis outside. Watching became a shared ritual, connecting friends and families across distance. The pandemic amplified the show's communal power. Binge-watching became a global pastime. The pandemic didn't create the show's popularity, but it supercharged it, became a towering pillar of flame in a world on pause. Streaming was the fuel, the pandemic the catalyst, but social media was the amplifier. Wasn't just watched, it was shared, memed, and debated across the globe. Every twist and character death became instant online conversation. Fans created art, theories, and viral videos, turning passive viewers into active participants. The dolly mask and red jumpsuit became digital icons. Social media transformed watching from a solitary act into a massive, interactive experience. The show's viral amplification was unprecedented for a non-English series. Social media didn't just spread the show, it wove it into the fabric of contemporary life. Great movements need great symbols, and delivered. The Salvador Dalí mask and red jumpsuit became global icons of resistance. Protesters worldwide donned them, linking local struggles to a universal story. The costume offered anonymity and unity, a new uniform for dissent. Then came the music. Bella Ciao, an old anti-fascist anthem, resurrected as the soul of the resistance. The song went viral, remixed and chanted at rallies and matches. Millions knew it as the gang's anthem, even without its history. These elements, the mask, the jumpsuit, the song, were simple, replicable, and deeply symbolic. They became building blocks of a cultural empire. Anyone could join in, put on a mask, sing a song, feel connected. This is how a TV show becomes mythology, through rituals and icons that invite participation. Achieved this more effectively than almost any modern show. Its symbols became part of the real world. Could this happen again today? The content universe has changed. When broke out, Netflix was the global hub for new binge-worthy shows. Now, the streaming landscape is fractured. Netflix, Amazon, Disney, HBO, and more all compete for attention. Market saturation means dozens of must-see series launch at once. Audiences are fragmented, divided among countless platforms and content bubbles. The global water cooler has splintered into thousands of smaller conversations. Streaming services now chase the next buy, pouring money into international productions. The novelty of a global Spanish thriller is gone. It's now an expectation. The path blazed is crowded with imitators. Standing out is harder than ever. Audience habits are changing too. Short-form content from TikTok and Instagram has conditioned us for rapid, fleeting consumption. Attention spans are shrinking. Binge-watching 5 seasons is a bigger ask. Some platforms now release episodes weekly, stretching out conversations but diluting cultural impact. The system favors constant churn over lasting masterpieces. Even hits fade quickly as the conversation moves on. To break through, a show must be more than good. It must be an event. The bar is higher and the noise is louder than ever. We've traced the journey of a phenomenon that was more than just a television show, a rare alignment of story, technology, and timing that captured the world's imagination. Its success was a perfect storm, a rebellious narrative, mature streaming platforms ready to deliver it. A global pandemic that kept millions indoors, and viral symbols that spread like wildfire. These elements collided in a way that felt almost impossible to replicate, creating a cultural wave that swept across continents. Other global hits will come, but the specific magic of this moment, its slow build and organic rise, belongs to a different era, one where audiences discovered stories together, not just through algorithms. Today's world is dominated by algorithms and fragmented attention, with viewers pulled in countless directions at once. The communal experience of discovery is harder to find, replaced by personalized feeds and endless options. To repeat this phenomenon would require more than a great show or clever marketing. It would need a less divided media landscape, a unifying global event, and a story that perfectly captures the spirit of its time. The odds of all these factors aligning again are incredibly slim. Perfect storms are rare by nature, beautiful, powerful, and fleeting, leaving a mark that can't be erased. We can study and admire them, but we can't manufacture them no matter how much we try to recreate the conditions. Was a lightning strike, a moment in time that electrified millions and then was gone. We see the crater it left, still feel the thunder echoing, but can't command lightning to strike twice, no matter how much we wish for it. All we can do is watch the skies and wonder when the next great cultural phenomenon will arrive, hoping to witness history again. The legacy of this show is a reminder. Sometimes fiction becomes fact, and the world is never quite the same afterward. And that is the true power of a perfect storm. It changes us, and its memory lingers long after the skies have cleared.